Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of KPW War Zone. It is I, Papi Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always, and there are plenty of championship implications here tonight. We have an American championship to be contested. We have a #1 contender to determine for the World Heavyweight Championship. And in that main event, the World Heavyweight Champion, the Viceroy Jedi, is going to have to pick his poison as Dynamite Danny Axel and Popcorn Papi slug it out in the main event. Only one of them will get a shot against the new two-time World Heavyweight Champion on the 25th for our next monthly special event, Vendetta. But that is not all, ladies and gentlemen. As we understand, we will be hearing from the Rhinestone Cowboy, the Sauce, later on tonight. He's had plenty of ups and downs as of late, but he is looking for the next chance to shine, to strike out, to find some kind of upwards momentum. And momentum is certainly the name of the game here in KPW. But also to come, tag team action. The BamBus, the Boise Boyz, Bam Dardino and Ricky Rhombus take on David Rush and Hollywood Hannon. That's certainly going to be a battle for the ages. The scheme, the KPW Tag Team Champions are going to want to keep a close eye on these two teams, these four men, because whoever walks away with their arms raised in the air victorious, they certainly wouldn't be too far behind in getting a championship match of their own. But also still to come, singles exhibition between two of KPW's biggest and brightest stars. The star attraction, the king of Stego style, Pierre Cinema and Cory Sinclair butt heads in the center of the ring tonight. But still to come to open up tonight's event, the KPW American Championship will be up for grabs, folks. James Kay Zee has been on an absolute tear ever since he won the American Championship. He has held on to that American title longer than any other American champion before him. And he might very well be approaching a cumulative record with that championship, but he has to overcome the Scrapyard Saint solo in just a few short moments. But before we get on down to ringside, I understand that we have cameras rolling with one of the contenders in our main event. Popcorn Papi has apparently approached our special guest referee for the evening here tonight. Let's catch up with them backstage. Let's see what is unfolding before our very eyes.
Looks like I caught the champ at a good time. I understand that business is business. I don't want the shortcuts. I don't want the drama. But when I took you up on your offer, I didn't expect for you to jump on that belt like a shark. You know how banged up I am. You know how bad I want that belt back. Tell me, are you going to call things right? Clean, right down the middle?
Popcorn Papi, what's done is done. You and I have no obligation to uphold anything from our previous business dealings. I know firsthand how terrible it feels to have everything you worked towards come crashing down all at once. But I had my own obligations, I stuck to them and I became the world champ once again. The only obligation you have as a competitor later on tonight is that you obey my rules. You obey these stripes once that bell rings. You stick to those obligations tonight? There won't be no drama. As much as I would love to fight you at Vendetta on the 25th and close up these loose ends, that much is up to you and your own abilities, no matter how banged up you are.
I would love nothing more than to prove you wrong on the 25th. Get you to myself at Vendetta for that World Heavyweight title. Consider this a warning shot. You get your hands dirty tonight and stroke your power? You blur those lines on your uniform? Yo ass is gonna get a sample taste of what's coming to ya when the mang comes around the end of the month.
Some stern words from the Street Fighter, Popcorn Papi. Who knows if those ribs of his are still heavily taped? Who knows if they're still incredibly bruised? But they certainly cost him the World Heavyweight Championship last week at SummerSpark. How good is the condition of Popcorn Papi ahead of tonight's main event? And if anybody has a bone to pick with Popcorn Papi, it would certainly be this man, the Scrapyard Saint. One half of the Hellhounds, his other half, K-Dog, has been sidelined at the behest of Popcorn Papi. This is going to be one hell of a Donnybrook here. This is going to be one hell of a fight. Things are about to get incredibly physical between these two men. So looking to keep the operations of the Hellhounds high and mighty. James Kay Zee used this as another obstacle in his path towards greatness. We saw the careful choice of words that he threw out last week on Warzone. So riding that intense high, still dominating a ring week after week, month after month. Nobody has been able to get a definitive leg up on this man ever since he became the American champion, and he still wants more and more challengers to step up to the plate. The challenge that he was willing to dish out last week, it may very well be the biggest one that he could possibly ask for. Waistlock counter, release German suplex by Solo. James Kay Zee slow to get to his feet, not in any rush whatsoever. High knee from James Kay Zee, pushing Solo back into the corner. Going from corner to corner, big bicycle kick, but Solo was ready for it. Solo, he's been a combatant here in KPW since day one. He is a fierce striker. He's got all the agility, all the athleticism that a man could possibly ask for. But is he going to have the endurance? Is he going to have the stopping power that it's going to take to put down the American champion here tonight? Can he become the new American champion here tonight? Brought down, attempted by James. Solo putting the brakes on. Left hook attempted by James. Running bulldog by Solo. Suplex countered once again. Solo staying on top of things in the early goings. Left hook to the body of James Kay Zee. Irish whip right into corners. A huge lariat. And James Kay Zee is keeping the pressure high. And this is ultimately a battle of attrition here. This is a battle between the Scrap Buster and that patented double arm DDT that has put away many men over the past several months. That Reefer Madness. James Kay Zee, he is standing all defiant. Whatever damage that he is withstanding, he is tanking through from Solo here. He is willing to output that right back to the Scrapyard Saint. Tilt-a-whirl slam, center of the ring, hooks the leg.
1, 2.
And a kick out by Solo. Bringing neck breaker, courtesy of the Scrapyard Saint. Spinning wheel kick. Eventually successful by Solo. And let's not forget, this man is also a American champion, a former American champion. Solo is actually sitting on one hell of an opportunity here to become the first ever two-time American champion in KPW history.
6, 7,
Both these men taking high risks, trying to put the other away here.
10, 11, 12,
Solo, Acai moonsault onto James.
14, 15, 16.
James getting the worst of that aerial encounter there. James grabbing Solo, restraining the arms with the ropes. Doing everything that he can to slow down Solo. That's going to be his best bet here tonight, folks. Solo ran right into a stun gun. And a hard left jab by the American champion. James Kay Zee wearing that American championship with so much pride. Got to celebrate the 4th of July, America's 250th birthday.
1, 2.
With one of the ultimate crown jewels in this business, in this sport. The American Championship tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Solo. Moonsault by Solo. Waistlock reversal by James Kay Zee. Going for the arm once again. Fujiwara armbar cinched in deep. And Solo was able to slip away in time. And a big spear by James.
Break.
A heavy flurry of strikes from the champion. Another forearm takes down Solo. Irish whip into the corner. Solo, some deadly intentions in that corner. James is able to get free in time. A high knee to the face. Solo just got his bell rung by the American champion. Crucifix bomb. Plants him. Sit out cover.
2. Count 2.
And Solo still kicked out. James Kay Zee is going to have to dig deep into the repertoire here tonight to put down the Scrapyard Saint. Going back to that armbar. Looking to turn one of the biggest strengths of the Scrapyard Saint into a huge weakness here tonight. Irish whip reversal by Solo. Side kick into the sternum of the American champion. But James, he is just on top of things. He has been in control past these opening minutes. James halfway across the ring looking for a diving headbutt. Solo moves out of the way. And Solo, he's been taking one hell of a beating. That knee strike to the dome really put things in perspective. Who was truly in control throughout this bout here? And Solo, he did not have the capacity to capitalize on such a critical mistake from James Kay Zee. That really could have shifted the course of this bout in the favor of the scrapyard Satan, the challenger for this championship. Another armbar by James. And Solo reaches the ropes with the good arm. Heavy lariat from James Kay Zee. And I think he's had enough here, folks. I think he's ready to drill Solo with some reefer madness. Plants him. Hook in the leg for extra leverage. And James Kay Zee is still the KPW American Champion. What a way to kick off Warzone here tonight. James Kay Zee continuing a reign of dominance. Damn near 3 months deep into his American Championship reign. There are no signs of slowing down this man. And he will not stop until he finds that hurdle that he cannot overcome, that he cannot meet the bar for. What's this? That's the music of the BamBus. What are they doing out here? James Kay Zee guarding that American Championship. He just got through one hell of a battle against Solo here. He does not want to have to worry about taking on 2 more guys at the same time here.
James, hold your horses, man. We're not here to get physical. We're here to talk, nothing more and nothing less.
You're here to negotiate time with the KPW American Champion? Everybody is lining up for a shot against me. Maybe one of you will get a shot at this soon enough. But you better make your case nice and strong.
In case you haven't ran into us in the locker room these past few months, I'm Bam Dardino, that's Ricky Rhombus beside me. We're the BamBus, and you and us got one hell of a mutual connection. We've seen you stand up for the legends like Bill Braxis. We've seen you stand up to people like Dynamite Danny, and me and my partner are impressed with everything you've pulled off these past several months. But if the verbiage you've used in the past week is the one I think you used, we're here to warn you. We're here to advise you from one peer to another to tread extremely carefully with what you do and what you say. That man you are looking for tore my partner up in a cage last year from asshole to appetite. Around this time last year, I was the world champ, and he made damn sure I wasn't going to be anything close to that just 2 weeks after won it. He is no ordinary man, not just any elite fighter that you can step over. We've seen him from the beginning of his career, and even back then we knew he could reach the top of the food chain.
So, you've been observing from the sidelines. You know the rush I'm on. You understand the hunger that I feel. I've been the talk of the town for months in KPW. I'm not just out to pad some records and roll some doobies in celebration. I'm here to make myself a legend.
James Kay Zee.
Just be careful, dude. Do not let him eat away at you over a quick fix for the spotlight. Be the fighting champ these fans all respect. Be the proud American champion. Do not tread down the path of our trainer and let your pride turn into a vicious ego.
I need that fight at Vendetta. I'm going to bring him out of hibernation if need be. But I didn't get this far by compromising and pulling the reins back on anything I've aspired to do. I'm not going to start now, not later, not ever. I appreciate your concerns, but from here on out I'm handling this alone like I did before. If I gotta learn the hard way, I don't care because I need to do this all my way.
James Kay Zee, as defiant as ever, as headstrong as he has ever been. He knows the storm that is approaching towards him on Vendetta, July 25th, and he is not backing down for a second. We know the man that he is calling out for this challenge. Bam Dardino, Ricky Ramos know that man very well, all too well. And they know the hell that he could unleash inside that squared circle. And it is only a matter of time before James Kay Zee comes face to face with that man. Treading carefully is going to be the best course of action for our KPW American Champion. But coming up next, two men that are willing to throw caution to the wind and make a statement for themselves and right some wrongs, turn the direction around in their careers here. Cory Sinclair, Pierre Cinema, singles exhibition here tonight. Cory Sinclair marching down to the ring with a newfound stride, newfound confidence. He's as calm as we have ever seen him, but who knows if he is as rational or more rational than what we saw of him before he went on leave. But he is coming up against one of KPW's best, one of the oldest guards of this entire sport, France's greatest export, the star attraction, a former Twitch champion, a former world heavyweight champion, the first ever Golden Gauntlet winner, Pierre Cinema.
Fight!
2026 has not gone the way that either of these two men would like to remember it.
2,
But there is still a whole second half of the year for them to try and change things around.
6,
We've seen how quickly the pendulum can swing
9,
in a positive direction for some of these folk in the locker room. Case in point, our world heavyweight champion, the Viceroy Jedi. He had fallen on some hard times to kick off the year. Sidelined by the director, Steven Gielberg, a man that Pierre Cinema had one hell of a war against at the start of the year. But once he won that lethal lottery contract, he bided his time. He waited very patiently to cash that in. And now the Viceroy will be the guest referee in tonight's main event as the world heavyweight champion. He has to pick his poison. He's gonna have to pick his next challenger in just 19 nights' time. Cory Sinclair goes low, Pierre goes high. Big headbutt, a triage of headbutts from Cory Sinclair. And Cory, he is one of the most unorthodox strikers
2,
in all of KPW.
1.
This man has an answer for damn near anything that you could throw at him. But Pierre Cinema, he's got a lot of intestinal fortitude. He's got a lot of tenacity. And he's got so much more to prove. He's got so much more to give to this business, to this sport. And if he wants any sort of chance, any semblance of a climb back to the World Heavyweight Championship, it starts here tonight. It starts against Cory Sinclair. Irish whip into the ropes. Cory Sinclair holds on. Cory Sinclair standing his ground. Big snapmare takes Cory Sinclair down, but just momentarily. Irish whip reversal by Pierre. Big drop kick, but Cory Sinclair standing on his own 2 feet, standing high and mighty, standing tall. Headlock takeover by Pierre to try and fix that. A huge chop to the chest of Cory Sinclair. Cory Sinclair trying to play things a bit more tactically, a bit more defensively, a little bit more on the back foot here tonight. Rolling wheel kick to the face of Pierre Cinema. Swinging neck breaker by Pierre. Half Nelson suplex. Cory Sinclair goes tumbling towards the ropes. Pierre drilling him with the starstruck DDT.
Break.
But Cory's saved by the ropes. Cory Sinclair playing possum there with the rolling wheel kick as he gingerly got back to his feet. If the positioning of Cory Sinclair was just a little bit closer towards the center of the ring, this would be a whole different ballpark, folks.
2.
Drop kick clears Cory of the ring. Handspring moonsault over the top rope. Cory Sinclair moved at the last second.
7.
I don't think he has any idea just how much danger
9.
he just avoided
10.
so narrowly.
11. 12. 13. 14.
That sixth sense on the King of Style, keeping this bout alive for him. Spinning heel kick. Pierre catches the one foot. Cory counters with an enziguri with the other foot. Pendulum backbreaker by Pierre. Boston Crab attempted. Cory Sinclair powers out of it. Another rolling wheel kick sends Pierre flying through the ropes. Ladies and gentlemen, coming next week on War Zone, you'll see plenty of champions on the program, including the Twitch champion, Sigma Shuko, the Miracle Man of the First Nation. We understand that he is yet to find a Twitch championship challenger. But we know that we will see a contender for that in just 1 week's time.
2.
Also to come, we will be seeing Papyrus, one half of Chaos Control, in action
6.
against T Nova on the program. And we will certainly have more updates to follow as the week progresses. Another rolling wheel kick from Cory Sinclair. Pierre Cinema goes high this time. Having an answer for that rolling wheel kick, that's going to be one hell of a difference maker. And a hard kick to the back of Cory. Triangle choke by Cory Sinclair, keeping Pierre away from the ropes. Another rolling wheel kick. A kick to the sternum of Cory. This is one hell of a standoff here, a battle of wits, a battle of will, a battle of who has the most testament between these two. Falcon Arrow by Cory Sinclair. Arm and elbow tie up here. Stereo Falcon Arrows. And Cory, he's looking to move quick. Center of the ring, meteor strike, clocking Pierre in the back of the head. Cover.
1, 2, count 2.
Oh my God. Pierre at 2.9. Pierre has survived the meteor strike. Both of these men having to shift into a second gear here. Pele kick by Cory. A hard kick to the gut of Pierre takes him down to all fours. Cory clearing the ring.
2,
Corkscrew tornado
3,
to the floor.
4,
Landing on the
5,
back of Pierre Cinema.
6,
Pressure high between both of these men. High octane action here between two of KPW's best. And look at the speed that Cory Sinclair is drilling those knees into the ribs of Pierre Cinema. This man, he is firing on whatever cylinders he can still get working. A hard smack across the face of Pierre Sinclair. Pierre just getting right back to his feet here. And that smack across the face, it might have awakened him. It might have woke him up. The fighting spirit between these two is absolutely unmatched. Another smack. Pierre not having an answer for it this time.
2, 3,
And Cory Sinclair just cleaned his clock. That may be an all-time low there for France's greatest export, the star attraction. Pierre Cinema may be seeing stars. And what has to be quite possibly one of the most disrespectful ways I've ever seen a match come to a close here in all my time behind this desk. A hard smack across the face. We saw that just moments before. We thought it woke Pierre up. That one certainly put him on the mat. Pierre Cinema coming from the bright lights, the big cities. Trying to make a name for himself once again, but he is not coming from those bright lights here tonight. He's looking up at the lights. He's seeing nothing but stars. And as he just barely makes out the shapes in his head here, As he slowly regains his consciousness, he can only see one man standing above him, hands raised up in the air by our lead official, Slap-Thigh Jones. The king of Stego style, Cory Sinclair, picks up a hell of a win here tonight. But coming up next, folks, tag team action. The BamBus, the Boise Boyz. Two of the most impactful tag teams in KPW history. Looking to lock horns here tonight. David Rush, Hollywood Hannon, 3-time tag team champions, going up against former tag team champions in the BamBus, Ricky Rhombus, Bam Dardino. Well, these four men certainly have everything to prove here tonight. And the Scheme, Bloom, Bilko, our tag team champions, are certainly going to be watching with a close eye to see who emerges victorious between these two teams. David Rush, Hollywood Hannon. They've been bulking up in all the time that they've been away from the KPW ring. But they are coming up against two men that are younger, faster, and have more time in the limelight here in KPW than they have. They're looking at a former hardcore champion. They're looking at a former world heavyweight champion, a former lethal lottery winner. But their combined efforts make them former tag team champions together. Bam Dardino, Ricky Rhombus, the BamBus. We're gonna get it on here tonight. Snapmare by David Rush of Ricky Rhombus. There's certainly a lot racing in the minds of the BamBus. We heard from both of them earlier on tonight, confronting the American champion James Kay Zee about the challenge that he laid out for VENDETTA. And maybe the biggest challenge that James has ever faced in his career, or perhaps will ever face. VENDETTA still to come on July 25th. Just 19 nights away. And these two men in the center of the ring, David Rush, Ricky Rhombus, they have the next 30 minutes to make a case for their team as to why they should be the ones to challenge the Scheme for the tag team championships at the end of the month. Hard right from David Rush, Ricky Rhombus fighting back, and this is deja vu right here, folks. These two men were the finalists in the B block of our first ever Golden Gauntlet round robin tournament, and we can confirm that at some point before the year closes, we will host the second ever Golden Gauntlet tournament here in KPW. The winner of that round robin, of course, getting a World Heavyweight Championship match at the next available special. Spine on the pine from Ricky Rhombus to Hollywood Hannon. And Bam Dardino tags in. He wants to get a piece of the action here. Tandem offense by the BamBus. assist spike pile driver
Break.
onto the 290-pound Hollywood Hannon. Tag made to David Rush. David Rush, he's had the upper hand before on Ricky Rhombus. He defeated Ricky Rhombus in the aforementioned round robin tournament to advance to the finals. The one thing that David Rush was not able to do is something that the man that he is facing in the ring right now, the legal man for the BamBus, has been able to accomplish. He has never became a world heavyweight champion. Bam Dardino
1, 2,
certainly had a place in history that he would not want to remember. Only 12 days as the world heavyweight champion, the shortest time that anybody has ever held on to that gold until SummerSpark nearly 2 weeks ago, when Dynamite Danny Axel defeated Popcorn Papi for the gold, only to lose it to the Viceroy Jedi just 3 minutes later. But one thing is absolutely certain between these two teams. There is not a circumstance that they could find themselves in where they will have to worry about losing the tag team championship so quickly, or let alone any championship. And still to come, we have our main event in the evening, World Heavyweight Championship contender, Dynamite Danny Axel versus Popcorn Papi, where Viceroy, our World Heavyweight Champion, Jedi, is the special referee. He is going to have to count somebody's shoulders to the mat. He's going to have to pick his poison for Vendetta in about 3 weeks' time. We heard Popcorn Papi reach out to the Viceroy earlier on tonight, demanding him to call it right down the middle. Popcorn Papi has been waiting for the opportunity to try and take on Jedi one-on-one, to prove the doubters wrong, to prove that he could hang in there with the man that he struck a deal with in some of the toughest times of his career. Ricky Rhombus gyrating those hips over the body of Hollywood Hannon, trying to enrage the big man. Hollywood ran right into that spine buster.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And now David Rush sends Bam Dardino packing outside the ring. Ricky Rhombus, the legal man for his team. Hollywood Hannon, the legal man for his, drilling Ricky Rhombus with a pile driver. And now Hollywood's going up top here. Over tackles. Tandem offense here from the BamBus. The Boise Boyz regaining control here. Snapmare counter by David Rush, trying to stay one step ahead of the more wily, the younger, the more agile Ricky Rhombus. Big headbutt to Ricky Rhombus. Single leg Boston Crab. Pulling back at those hamstrings, applying all the pressure in the world to the back of Ricky Rhombus. Bandardino tags in. And this is a smart play by the BamBus, keeping those tags as frequent as they can, ensuring that they could go the distance against one of KPW's most dangerous teams of the entire tag team division. Side suplex by David Rush. Ricky Rhombus pulls him off of his partner. And David Rush with a low blow. Well, he certainly wasn't going to fight with any kind of chivalry here tonight. The Boise Boyz have always been a team that have dominated by any means necessary. David Rush, Yellowstone eruption, lateral press.
1, 2.
And look at the faith that Ricky Rhombus had in his tag team partner. Bandardino has seen darker days here. He had full faith in his partner to kick out of that Yellowstone eruption courtesy of David Rush. Tag made to Hollywood. Climbs in over the top rope here. Snap power bomb by David Rush, softening up Ricky Rhombus for his tag team partner. And Hollywood, quick on the move, snaps a DDT onto Ricky Rhombus. A second DDT to follow it up. Russian leg sweep counter by Hollywood. Tag made to Bandardino. Irish whip into the corner. Shoulder blocks into the sternum of Hollywood Hannon. Trying to cut the big man in half. Trying to cut him down however he can. Sidewalk slam by Bam. And a hard strike by Hollywood Hannon. And Bandardino just gave Hollywood one hell of a receipt with that running power bomb. Oh my God, this is one of the most physical tag matches I've seen in quite some time. Snapmare by David Rush to Bandardino, the two legal men. Ricky Rhombus, he is a long ways away from his corner of the ring. He's a long ways away from that tag rope. David Rush overpowering Bandardino. Power bombs, pile drivers, they're sparing no expenses here tonight. They are showing absolutely no mercy to one another. As both of these teams still seemingly at a stalemate, and this still has 20 minutes to go potentially. Small package attempted by David Rush. Bandardino counters it, gets the tag to Ricky Rhombus. And Ricky Rhombus looking to bring the pace down. Slow, meticulous, deliberate. He is trying to put David Rush in another world of hurt. Hollywood gets the tag. And if anybody wants to dish out pain and destruction, it's Hollywood Hannon. Big double suplex on Ricky Rhombus.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Official starting the 20 count on the outside.
6.
Bam Dardino all by himself. A little bit of high-low action from the BamBus. Scoop slam by Ricky Rhombus. Drops down the knee. Looking to keep him down once again with a neck breaker. And now it's Hollywood Hannon drilling Ricky Rhombus with a spine buster. Full Nelson slam to follow it up. The sheer size, the sheer strength, the sheer power of Hollywood Hannon has made the Boise Boyz such a difference-making tag team. Not just KPW, but in all sorts of territories, especially the West Passaic territory. Where they made their bones. That's where they made the names for themselves. Boise Boyz, grizzled veterans in the tag division. Being able to keep the pressure high, being able to keep the pressure on the BamBus, the experience edge that they have. An assist from Hollywood Hannon. As Bam Dardino fights his way free from the apron. David Rush keeping Bam Dardino in the corner like a caged animal. And Bam, he just needs to break free. He just needs to get his distance however he can. David Rush making damn sure that Bam Dardino can't get to his tag team partner. And this is the break that Bam's been looking for. Ricky Rhombus back in the bout. Bear hug on to Bam Dardino. A heavy blow to the back of the head of Ricky Rhombus. Hollywood Hannon softening up Ricky Rhombus for his partner. Mullen drop by the record breaker David Rush. A reverse suplex. And that is such a long way to fall for Ricky Rhombus. Abdominal stretch. And Bam's in there as soon as he possibly could to break it up. Snapmare counter by David Rush. Ricky Rhombus all the way across the ring. Yellowstone eruption. Cover.
1, 2.
And Bam Dardino beats Hollywood Hannon to the count. He keeps this match alive for the BamBus. And Ricky Rhombus, he's in some rough shape here. He is favoring, he is covering up those ribs the best that he can here.
Break.
We would love to do nothing more than to mock the taunt, the hot dog, and grandstand.
1.
Bam Dardino not even realizing who was taking the pin there. He let his guard down for just one moment. DDT assist from Hollywood Hannon. David Rush rushes for the lateral press, keeping the shoulders down. Hollywood Hannon running one hell of a diversion tactic for the Boise Boyz here tonight. One could even say that they hatched one hell of a scheme to emerge victorious here in tonight's tag team bout. We know that Bloom, Bilko, the scheme, the World Tag Team Champions, they were watching on very closely from the back. This could be the next big obstacle in their reign as our tag team champions. These could be the guys that they have to worry about in just 3 weeks' time at Vendetta. But David Rush, Hollywood Hannon, the Boise Boyz, they get to enjoy the fruits of their labor here tonight. A dominant victory for the Boise Boyz tonight. And coming up next, main event of the evening, special guest referee, our world heavyweight champion, the Viceroy Jedi. Getting ready to call this match down the middle, getting ready to pick his poison. One of these two men, Dynamite Danny, Axel, Popcorn Papi, they will have one chance, one shot to get a rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship at Vendetta on July 25th. But before we get down to ringside for our main event, folks, I understand that Roger is on standby with the Rhinestone Cowboy, a man looking for opportunities of his own. The Sauce. As I'm receiving word, we're getting even more developments backstage here. I understand that the Sauce is not alone here. There might be a bit of a commotion between the Sauce and another man. Let's see what's unfolding backstage here.
I don't give a damn if this is your interview time. Let's face it, Sauce. You've done absolutely nothing to deserve this time. Stacking up loss after loss, squandering one opportunity after the next. When was the last time you were a champion to begin with? Why do we as a company have to waste our time on a choke artist when the hottest commodities? The deadliest alliance, Bob and Steven Gielberg. We're here. We're not the past. We aren't even the future. We are in the now, and now is the time for us to take this place by storm.
The Sauce has heard enough of your verbal masturbation. You know who was selling out these buildings from day one. You know who walked through that curtain before anybody else. Who set the bar for you to run your mouth. The Rhinestone Cowboy, the Sauce. What the Sauce may have in common with you is this. We're former champions. We've taken down the biggest fish in this company. And that's where the comparisons stop. The Sauce never needed backup to get the job done. If your misfit wasn't beside you, could you truthfully say the same? Shut your mouth, the Sauce isn't finished. What would Steven Gielberg be without Bob? What would Steven Gielberg be without Pierre Cinema? Where is Steven Gielberg going to be once the Sauce sticks this leather boot up your ass? It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as a deadly alliance. This is your deadly dependency, and the Sauce will be the man to wrangle your ass into rehab. If you smell.
Gentlemen, I've received word from the board of directors regarding the both of you for next week and beyond. A compromise that will give you both and the fans what they want. Next week, we will have a triple threat contender for the KPW Twitch Championship. Opulence will get the chance to earn his rematch clause at Vendetta, but he will have to beat Steven Gielberg and Kabuki.
At Kabuki?
Steven Gilbert gets a shot, but not the sauce. What kind of solution is this?
Sauce don't think you got the short end of the stick, because you in fact could have the most to gain. Not only will you get a non-title match next week against Sigma Shuko, but you got a guaranteed payday on the 25th. That fateful night, the Sauce will have the chance to supersede into world title contention when he takes on one of KPW's top contenders, the Misfit Bob.
That's one hell of a bombshell from the board of directors. A triple threat Twitch Championship contender, Kabuki, Opulent, Steven Gilbert, next week on Warzone. The Sauce getting his hands on the Twitch champion himself the same week. But the Sauce, he also has a chance to get one over on the director as he goes after the Misfit Bob at Vendetta. My God! That's not to mention these two men here tonight. They also have a shot to get to Vendetta, the main event, in fact. Dynamite, Danny Axel, Popcorn Papi looking to pick up right where they left off at SummerSpark. And Popcorn Papi's looking a little bit better than he did just 2 weeks ago. One of these two men will have the chance to make lightning strike twice. Can Dynamite Danny Axel prove that he could take Popcorn Papi at 100%? Can Popcorn Papi prove to the world, prove to the doubters that his time on top wasn't just a fairy tale ending? There's only one man that could seal the deal for both of them here tonight. And that is our World Heavyweight Champion, our guest referee of the evening, the Viceroy, Jedi. We saw the pull-apart brawl that these two had just last week on Warzone. These two couldn't stay off of each other. Security wasn't even willing to get involved with these two crazy bastards. They've been knocking down anybody that comes in between them. We've seen the lengths that Popcorn Papi has been willing to go to defend what he considers near and dear to him. We've seen the bridges that Dynamite Danny Axel has been willing to burn just to obtain what was seemingly unobtainable. But something is certainly going to give here. The Viceroy starting the count outside the ring. So far, barely impartial. Jedi doing a quick check on Dynamite Danny Axel. Irish whip from Dynamite. Popcorn Papi springs back with a flying forearm. Waistlock transition. Dynamite drops down Popcorn Papi on the shin. Wrist lock on Dynamite Danny Axel. Popcorn Papi working down those extremities on a man that can now go down in history as the shortest reigning World Heavyweight Champion in KPW history. He's looking to at least make the second reign better than the first, but he has to make it that far. He has to earn that chance here tonight. Dynamite Danny Axel just low blowed the referee. And who knows where the hell Dynamite was actually aiming for there. Was he intending to hit Popcorn Papi with that? Was he going after the world champion with that? Interestingly enough, the Viceroy, he did not call for a disqualification on that, as the official was attacked there. Jedi again, the worst out of all these exchanges. Deliberate or accidentally, this is already a physical encounter for a world champion. He's doing everything in his power to try and keep this match on the rails. But the only one being derailed so far is the Viceroy. Popcorn Papi. Head full of steam here. Big drop kick takes down Dynamite. And the Axel, corner elbow, tosses Popcorn Papi out of the ring. One count. Both these men quickly re-enter the ring. Popcorn Papi. He's looking to put this away early. Pump handle slam. That match is one. That move is one of championships. Jedi gingerly checking the shoulders. Just a one count. Jedi taking his sweet time to count the pinfall there. Popcorn Papi staring daggers into the soul of the world heavyweight champion. He's still calling it down the middle, but I think the world champion here, I think Jedi wants to see these two beat the hell out of each other, because he knows the more that they wear each other down here tonight, the better off he will be at Vendetta when he has to inevitably face one of these two. Jedi admonishing the low blow between the legs of Dynamite Danny Axel. Looking to turn the other cheek regardless. He still wants these two to beat the hell out of each other. Popcorn Papi tossed to the floor once again here. Back in at one. And a hard left jab takes down Dynamite. Side Russian leg sweep by the Street Fighter. Schoolboy. Jedi get in position to make the count, and he's slow on that count once again. Popcorn Papi going for yet another pump handle slam. Sit out inversion here. And now Dynamite Danny Axel turning his attention onto the referee. His frustrations have hit a boiling point. He's letting loose on the Viceroy. Dynamite Danny Axel, he's risking disqualification for this. This match has already been going off the rails. But this is exactly what Dynamite Danny Axel's been thriving in these past several months, as his more two-faced, despicable nature reveals itself. this certainly isn't the way that Popcorn Papi wanted things to go down either. Hard left jab in the corner, Popcorn Papi. We're gonna go for yet another pump handle slam. And he drills him. And now Jedi on the attack on Dynamite Danny Axel. We heard the warning from Popcorn Papi. Don't blur the lines on that referee shirt. Jedi just throwing caution to the wind, throwing the rule book out the window. He just drilled Popcorn Papi with the pump handle slam. This has certainly gone off the rails. And now Jedi picking up Dynamite. Sledgehammer on the challenger. This is pandemonium. Just knocked out Popcorn Papi, and now he's fast counting Danny Axel.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
He's gonna give Popcorn Papi what he wants, but not the way he wants it.
18, 19.
And Dynamite beats the 20 count, albeit a fast 20 count.
Break.
I've never seen anything like this. A Jedi clocking both the challengers. Which one of these guys is still going to be able to go to Vendetta? Is Jedi hoping that by taking both of these men out, he doesn't have to face either one of them? He certainly has no obligations to upkeep with Popcorn Papi. There's certainly no love lost between him and Dynamite Danny Axel. What better way to stick it to both of these men by ensuring that they don't get their shot? And now this has gone completely out of control. Danny Axel taking the plunge. And they can't call for the bell unless the Viceroy says so.
1, 2, 3.
And here he goes
4,
with that
5,
20 count
6,
once again.
7, 8, 9, 10.
And Popcorn Papi just clocked our referee here, Danny Axel, with a 2x4, getting in on the attack here. What are we gonna do without a referee? Jedi's getting the unholy hell beaten out of him by both of these challengers. In his efforts to try and rig the game, he's brought these two together. And now what? No. That can't be. That's the wild card. That's Robbie Deuce. We haven't seen him since Mayhem. There's a lot of bad blood developing inside that ring. He certainly has a lot of bad blood with the Viceroy in particular. And Jedi, he's slowly getting to his feet here. He doesn't know if Robbie Deuce is gonna clock him or not. And Robbie Deuce just went for Dynamite. Popcorn Papi's making a run for the hills. Robbie Deuce damn near put out of commission by Dynamite Danny Axel. All this man wanted was a guiding light, somebody to help rehabilitate him. A man that has exposed the true nature of Dynamite Danny Axel is back in full force. Popcorn Papi, probably the smartest man in that ring. Staying out of this chaos, out of this madness here. Liar's dice on Danny Axel. And I think the Viceroy just found an unlikely savior. Another liar's dice. Robbie Deuce looks to pick up right where he left off. With the man that betrayed his trust so intimately, so personally. As he marches over to the Viceroy, helps him up to his feet even. This is pandemonium, this is chaos. We don't even know who the contender is gonna be in Vendetta. We get word from the board of directors here. They're ruling this a no contest, but we're certainly gonna look for some answers regarding all of this next week on Warzone. Who will be the first in line to get a shot at Vendetta? Who's gonna get... What is the reason why Robbie Deuce assisted the world champion? Why did he choose now to make his presence felt once again? I have been Tapey Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. Wishing you all a good night, everybody.